What's up, gang? Hope you're doing well. I saw this video pop up on my timeline. I was interested in watching it. This is from outside the NBA. We'll go like and subscribe. You guys should do the same. But this is what happens when you play 100% by analytics. This is always a hot topic. I've been wanting to do a video on this for a while, so I'll see what they have to say. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be following the Celtics. So let's see.
Everyone thought the Celtics will have a gap year when Jason Tatum went down in the playoffs. But in the heat of the moment, I think we all forgot that
Also, I've seen this guy's videos a lot. He does a lot of EuroLeague stuff. I actually really like his content. I didn't realize this was him. This is dope.
their playstyle is heavily influenced by basketball analytics. And when used right, that gives you a huge competitive advantage. Let me explain. I know most of you are probably thinking, hey, it's simple, it's all about shooting the most layups and most threes, no mid-ranges. It is not as simple as it sounds, and it is not the case with the Celtics. For example, they are dead last in rim attempt frequency. Yeah, they are extremely accurate from there when they shoot, making around 71% of their layups, but the ones they do take are almost guaranteed. Okay, you are right about the barrage of three-pointers though. They are in the top 3 in the long shots frequency, but let me start from the other side, the defense, because that's what most people ignore when talking about a data-driven basketball. It's not only about offense. The Celtics are super focused on not allowing rim attempts, just because those generate the most points per shot. League average is around 67%, meaning a layup generates around 1.34 points per shot. You would have to shoot a lights out 45% from deep to
This is one of the biggest misconceptions that a lot of people just don't understand about the twos versus threes conversation, especially when it first started becoming really popular online. I think online it was a popular discussion maybe 3 years ago when the Celtics won the championship. But this has been in the people that are, I say higher, this is going to sound pretentious. I don't mean me. I just mean like, if you're at the higher level of basketball where they're starting to use these analytics, so transition analytics, scoring analytics, things like that, this is something you've been understanding for the last, ever since Steph Curry has become a thing. So yeah, it's easier to shoot. Like if you see this, you need to shoot 70% nearly from twos to get the same amount of points as 45% from the three. Now, finding 45% three-point shots is easier. It sounds weird just because twos are easier than threes, you know, conventionally. It's easier to shoot open 45% threes than it is to find open 67% twos. Does that make sense? So shooting contested mid-range jump shots typically isn't at 70%, but a drive and kick three, good shooters can shoot at 45%. So if you're able to change your offense to hunt open threes, you can utilize players that aren't good at creating their own shots or hitting 70% from two. A lot of them can do about 45 to 40% open from three, whereas some players trying to generate 70% shots from two is just very tough. So this analytic is very important to understand, not just the number and the representation of the numbers here, but why that is and why it plays out this way.
beat this efficiency. That is why preventing rim attempts
And increasing one necessarily increases the other. So I'll do it with this back on the screen. So if you're shooting at 67% from the two, 45% from the three, if you're shooting 50% from the three, because you're getting more open threes and you can shoot those so well, the defense will start taking those away more, and you will be increasing your 67% on twos because you're going to get easier drives to the basket. Same thing, if you're more efficient inside, let's say you're shooting 70%, they're going to pack the paint a lot more, which is going to open up more outside looks. So it's such a weird analytic that seems like it wouldn't make sense, but the higher one goes, the higher the other goes. So yeah, anyways, I find this one very interesting. And since, like I said, about 10 years ago, probably, whenever I actually understood this stat, is when I started building and developing players almost around this, offensively, almost around this concept. almost completely, just because it fits into almost every modern day offense. And no matter what position you play, if you play to kind of this standard, you can play on, there's a spot for you on any team.
This efficiency. That is why preventing rim attempts is Boston's #1 task on defense. Defensively, they might go as far as helping from one pass away on the strong side just to make sure Johnson is not driving all the way. Shireman peel switches not once, but...
And that's why this peel switch, you see a lot of these weird, wacky, gimmicky, I do think they're very gimmicky, defensive schemes in the NBA that just don't track in any other league, but it's because of the spacing, because of the shooting, because of the rules the way they are. You're not trying to hold teams to 0 points, whereas in some leagues, that's still the intention. Don't let them score at all. Obviously to an extent, right? I'm being hyperbolic, but in the NBA, it's like, hey, they're going to score a lot of points. Let's just slow them down a little bit. Whereas in EuroLeague, for example, it's like, we're taking this away, this away, this away, this away. We're only giving up this. So just depending on the level you play, the tactics and gimmicks, I guess, will be slightly different.
Twice, Jaylen Brown takes McCollum as soon as he drives in, once again forcing a mid-range instead of a straight line layup. In a data-driven Celtics defense, there's also one variable that does not have anything to do with it. It's the grit and grind of every possession. Playing hard through 82 regular season matches is a daunting task. But notice their poise when they're fighting through screens and later keeping the offensive player in front even after a slip screen. That's hard to do in today's NBA, but that is what makes the opponents shoot mid-range shots. And that's the main goal of the Celtics defense, because if the opponents are shooting mid-range twos and Boston are shooting threes, the math is on their side usually.
And Joe Mazzulla is I've been wanting to make a video just on him individually. He is such a data-driven, analytical coach that really is stringent on those details. Obviously, them winning that championship, I've loved him as a coach because I think a lot of the same ways he does. I just think he takes it to that extreme, and that's what makes him so good.
This clip, everyone is active. Early slip does not create miscommunication. Hugo Gonzalez is there in case Kennard pulls the trigger. Look at Simons, knees bent, feet engaged. On a drive, he stays in front on the first move, influencing a step back midi for Wallace. He is only 39% on those exact shots per cleaning the glass, meaning a 27% 3-point attempt actually gives you a better outcome. And that's a very low number for today's NBA players, especially with the way Boston are creating those shots. The Celtics bench have been phenomenal, especially defensively. Atlanta run top pick and roll here with a corner exit for a shooter, but they find no luck. Everyone is moving their feet, communicating, and being physical. Simons knows allowing Kennard a free is not ideal, so he stays close. And on a drive, Luke Garza stops Luke Kennard from a layup, forcing a miss, and Gueye is 25% on these short mid-ranges.
Man, it's funny. We did a video on, that Ja Morant video I did on the main channel. It's not about Ja Morant, but kind of about this, where NBA teams that are able to play team defense and not have I'm not picking on individual players, but that era of having like a James Harden who doesn't pull his weight on defense, like it's just over. Like you need all 5 players to be on the same page to be successful for a season. And it's because the offense has gotten so good at exploiting that stat I showed you earlier. If there's one weak link where they can keep ISOing and getting 2 feet in the key and creating those easy decision-making opportunities for, a 70% 2 or 45% 3, when you have 5 players, at least you muck it up enough to where that decision becomes clouded. You end up with these weird fadeaway jump shots from your center, just like we just saw there. So yeah, I love this video. This is very good.
For better context, again, this shot was as good as someone on the Celtics shooting 17% from 3-point range. So the Celtics' outstanding energy, peel switching, constant rotations bring dividends.
Let's look at this. So we get a drive, and this is an advantage, right? This is an advantage. You're getting a switch onto the big. But because there's this gap defender, and he gets his hands in the passing lane. So this was the open player, obviously. And then you kind of also had an open dunker, but again, you've just got active defenders. It just closes those windows. You're not going to close windows completely at the NBA level, but if you can just shorten those windows to where if that's James Harden driving right there, he probably makes the right play. It's probably he's going to hit them right on the money. It's going to be such an easy play to make. But because you're forcing other players to make those plays, that's whenever it starts to become like, okay, maybe we can get some steals here, get some deflections. Again, just put them in more tough spots to make quick decisions.
They lead the NBA in allowing the least rim attempts. Only around 25% of their opponent's shots come around the rim. Damn. On top of that, they also do have a solid defense when...
So if only 25% of your shots are coming from the rim, remember what we said that does to the three-point percentage as well. That three-point percentage probably goes down as well. It's not exactly, you can't exactly correlate it, but it's overall net rating wise, threes will go down if your 2-point field goal percentage is going down.
That rare try around the rim goes up as they put up an 8th best rim defense in the league. Layups and frees on offense becomes no layups and no frees on defense. And if the first part is done perfectly by Boston, they do not really follow the latter. They are in bottom 10 in frees allowed, but there is a huge catch that actually tilts the data balance in their favor, because those 3-point shots usually come from the opponent's worst shooters. Peep Derek White on this possession. He's guarding Stephon Castle, a career 28% shooter from deep. All the time he's in a help position. And
man, we saw this from Indiana. It's crazy how quickly the league adjusts to trends nowadays. This is why I wish the gather and the travels and the rules didn't favor the offense so much, because we could see adjustments from both sides of the ball so quick, a lot easier. But instead, it's only like a few teams that really adjust and buy in, because so many other teams can get away with just like doing whatever, just accidental basketball, as Kobe called it. But we saw this from Indiana last year, where they were just basically putting a QB spy right here in the middle against Shea. And we saw this from OKC when they did this against Jokic. And they would just sit someone here and be like, you're going to have to swing this ball. Like, I'm just not leaving. It seems simple, like it's just a simple gap defender, but they only did it in very specific matchups. Whereas some teams will just have that as a rule, like what was that, pack line defense back in the day? So it's kind of like a pack line defensive rule for just when one player has it. And then we're going to force this guy into a closeout or into a deep three. So it's just very player specific, scouting report specific. And this is just some of the brilliant stuff we see in the NBA. This is the stuff I love about the NBA, but it's just, this is not at the forefront. We still got to deal with the unlimited gathers and all the other nonsense. I wish this stuff was highlighted more. That's why I think these channels are important too.
When Barnes drives, he's there not only to prevent a potential rim attempt, but also forcing a low quality free ball. Even though it's a free pointer, they are willing to take that risk. Boston are betting on trading free pointers with the opposing team's worst shooter, while on the other side, they hope to create spot up looks for their high percentage guys, like Sam Hauser. Also, you can witness this pattern that a lot of NBA players, especially non-shooters, reach their season or even career highs in three-point attempts versus Boston. As you can see, this first part of the video was about defensive efficiency. And if you enjoyed it, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We are trying really hard to give a unique overseas perspective on the NBA stuff, so it would really help.
I'm going to watch a lot more of their videos. I really like the way they do their EuroLeague stuff. I watch them quite often, so I'm definitely going to be tapping into the NBA ones.
Help us grow the channel faster. Thank you. For Boston, just as important as the defensive efficiency is the possession battle. That takes up 3 parts: defensive rebounding.
And then this is the part Joe Mazzulla is really good at, with just like getting his team extra possessions, winning, you know, getting really good looks out of timeouts, out of halftime, but also going into halftime, going into the end of quarters, things like that. Like those are, he's just so analytical with the way that he coaches.
Second chances offensively and turnover count. As early as in the preseason this year, Joe Mazzulla went viral again with his remarks about defensive rebounding.
I don't see 5 guys rebound, so then I go get 5 and they rebound. That's simple. 5 guys are rebound, go.
Remember we were watching coach from, was it Illinois, used to coach at Oklahoma State, and we were looking at his offensive rebounding principles, and he still only had really 2 or 3 guys that were in that action, but because he intentionally put so much time and effort and technique into how they rebounded, they ended up winning the rebounds by, I can't remember what the number was, but they won the rebounds more often than not. And then you look at the stats and it's like teams that offensive rebound better typically win more. So it's like when you compare those stats together, kind of with the 2 and 3 point efficiency stat, then you pair that with like paint touches. You start pairing those kind of stats together that aren't the stat sheet stats, but they're more in-depth analytics. That's when you get like the best idea of how you want to develop your team, your offensive philosophy, your defensive philosophy, what type of shots we want, what type of shots we want the other team to take. This stuff for coaches is invaluable. Not just seeing analytics and then making a plan off of that, understanding the analytics and what that means for your practices, what that means for your player development, what that means overall as a team. It's similar to, I see this all the time where coaches will yell, rebound. They'll just yell it. And when I see a coach in a game just yelling to rebound, I'm like, oh, he hasn't put a plan in place. He's just telling the players what to do. But if you hear a coach say like, opposite side rebound or something, you're like, oh geez, this guy's got like a plan for how he wants to rebound. Now the players know, oh yeah, I didn't get to my spot to, so you could tell some teams have just gone more in depth with things. Make sure that you are holistic. Make sure you're keeping that through line all the way through. If you're developing a player, you're where you're getting your shots, how you're rebounding those shots, how your transition defense pairs up with your transition offense, pairs up with your who's taking what shots in transition, what shots you're looking for. Make sure it all pairs up and works together. So that way you're not teaching one thing that doesn't pair up with something else. So you get in a game and you're just yelling out different stuff and wondering why it's not working. Sometimes it's not the players, sometimes it's the philosophy you've put in.
Clearly, it was an emphasis point since the beginning. But per cleaning the glass, the Celtics are not that great. Despite quite a lot of boxing out going on, they do allow 10th, 11th highest offensive rebounding percentages. Sometimes there is just not enough size, and allowing a lot of free pointers at the cost of layups also does not help. But they still do win the possession battle. They get almost 32% second chances on the other side. Here Boston uses the now league-wide famous tagging up strategy. When the shot goes up,
Ooh, I like this. I tried teaching this for a year. It's such a weird thing to teach. Again, this goes deep into your philosophy, but just tagging up, it's a very European thing.
They crash the surroundings of the paint, pushing their defenders under the rim as much.
And what you'll do is you'll just match up transition defense wise. You'll just match up with whoever you're next to as well, rather than, Hauser right here being like, oh, wait, I've got to sprint over here and guard my players. So it's like, no, we're all crashing. We're tagging up. We're all just going to stand like close. We're just trying to be around where the rebound is going to go and try to win 50% of those.
Just possible. Since free pointers bounce further.
And then whoever you end up by, if you don't get it, you just guard them, rather than trying to get matched up specifically.
Third, by implementing this strategy, you not only help your offensive rebounds, but also make sure you are matched up well for transition defense. And the third thing that helps Boston have more possessions most of
and the big hang up I see with that, a lot of coaches don't feel comfortable with their 5-man crashing. And let's say that's Jamal Murray and Garza. It's like, I don't want Garza guarding Murray. It's like, yeah, but it just slows Murray down enough to where everyone else gets set anyways, rather than Garza running all the way back to guard his 5-man. Jamal Murray's pushing the ball down the court with no one on him, while Jaylen Brown is sprinting from the opposite side coming to guard Jamal Murray. It's better to have someone on everyone than it is to be trying to match up perfectly and just have no one on the ball or no one ahead in transition. So just match up with whoever you're next to. And then if that forces Jamal Murray to bring the ball down slower or forces him out to a different direction or go east and west the first couple dribbles, everyone else can get set up
well for transition defense. And the third thing that helps Boston have more possessions most of the nights is that they are not turning the ball over. They rank second in turnover percentage, only behind OKC Thunder, and their analytical offensive approach is a big reason why. Mazzulla's offensive goal is simple, and he has repeated it 1,000 of times in his tenure.
I've answered that question 100 times. Find a 2-on-1.
He lied there. He said thousands. Mazzulla said hundreds. Somebody's lying, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Make the right play versus the 2-on-1. It's that simple. Could be a 3, could be a layup. Find a 2-on-1. I've answered that for 2 years now.
Okay, so how does Boston do that? Among their main options, a very popular set in the NBA, zoom action. 5-out spacing with a pin down into a handoff. Pin down forces the initial defender to follow over, so the big has to step up. 2-on-1 created. Somebody has to help in the paint. Boom, wide open three-pointer from the corner. Another thing, Jaylen Brown is having a career year. He's an extremely dangerous from the mid-range, so on the zoom action, just a horizontal one, Atlanta sent 2 on the ball. Queta is rim running inside, the Hogs have to help from the weak side, and there it is again, a spot.
That shot is crazy. Pass on the money, but then no dip for the 3.
Out of 3 that Boston loves. The Celtics offense most of the time is about 4 people around the perimeter, 1 rolling to the rim. Here is their staple side pick.
Again, this is just such a very European style, and I'm loving that the NBA is adopting a lot of this. I wish we would adjust to more FIBA style rules. I'm not saying we need to be FIBA, but just some of the FIBA rules are so good for speeding up the game, for pace, and for making it interesting. The competition, making it a good, fair, not fair competition, but good, interesting competition, offense strategy versus defense strategy. Right now, it's like, it's really weird. The NBA is in a weird place to where a lot of it, honestly, what you heard, what was the first thing that Joe Mazzulla said twice that he's basically preaching is like effort. Having 5 guys play hard. And it's like, at the highest level, that should just be a prerequisite, right? Like everyone should, but it's just not that. That's not what the NBA has been for a while. So I like that we're getting back to the teams that, you know, if you've got a deep rotation and everyone plays hard, you're going to be good for 82 games. Now you can stack stars on top of that and they can give effort. That's great. But you can't have a star just score 40 points a night and not give effort on the other end and expect to win games. So anyways, I'm sorry. So this is basically like the first side actions, right? Dribble handoff, gets action, back screen, go screen, whatever you want over here on the first side. But then the second side, having your post player play a lot of like Princeton style offense, but lifting on the weak side. So they'll either be here in the trail spot, so you can throw it through the big and we can play 3-man game, or lifting and you can play 3-man game. And remember when we were watching Thomas Isola, his clinic was you could throw it to the guard here and we can play 3-man game with maybe a back screen or whatever, or we can lift and we can throw it through the post and play like blind pig action, dribble handoffs, zooms, all that type of stuff. I love this.
Into top pick action that maintains the spacing well, plus puts 2 on the ball. Mazzulla approves this, and look at this beautiful ball movement to find an open man. A lot of other great options offensively, but this is how Boston has an all-time great offense with incredible efficiency from all over the court. They are in the top 8 in all shooting locations. Even the mid-ranges are not banned. Jaylen Brown admitted he was discouraged from taking those at different points of his career, but now, since he's the alpha dog of the team, he is allowed to take any shot he wants.
And that would be our special shooter rules that I talk about a lot.
Brown is shooting a solid 47% on all mid-range attempts, making it an effective shot. Also consider,
because for him, not only is he getting these 2s and shooting them at a decent percent, as you see here, 47% from 2, but he's also going to be getting some free throws out of that, also be picking up fouls on the other players. Also, sometimes that turns into a layup, but then sometimes it turns into that kick out. Sometimes you need that player on your team who is going to be decently efficient at taking some bad shots.
During the fact he often has to improvise to create those. This is what happens when you play 100% by the analytics, and this is how Boston is successful this season. The biggest question is, can this work during the playoffs? In my opinion, going all in on analytics help you max out your team's potential during the regular season.
Great point.
Playoffs, as we all know, are a different beast. The energy levels even out. The game slows down. Individual talent, matchups play a way big.
And this is essentially the Cleveland Cavaliers from last year. And again, Alex Sarama was part of that Cleveland Cavs staff for a bit. He was player development, I think. But remember, one of the issues I have with CLA training, it's this type of approach where we teach everyone to play, like do a little bit of everything based on the analytics, based on individual exploration, based on freedom, you know, just with a little bit of guidance. Obviously, I'm not overly trying to pick on the CLA or Alex Rama, but it's just there comes a point where mastery matters. But I do think you have to get to this point first, and then someone like a Phil Jackson, then someone like a I was going to say Doc Rivers. That's actually not what happens. He needs the talent, but then he doesn't push it any further. But you know, those Eric Spoelstras, those types of coaches, once they have the talent, the effort, the buy-in, then those coaches can come in and be like, all right, here's how I'm going to manage these star players. Here's how I'm going to manage, you know, right the ship at this high level. But some coaches can't take you to that high level. So anyways, this was a great video. Please go like and subscribe to this channel. We're definitely going to watch more videos on this. This just does such a good job of pointing out, again, it takes so long to make these videos and to find the clips and to get all the stats and everything up there. So this is the type of content I want to make, and you guys see my main channel, it just takes a lot of time. So when I can see other people's videos and I can still give my, like, all the stuff in my brain, I can still imprint it, like, this is what I would have said and here's all the extra things I would do. I feel like it not improves the video, but I feel like it just allows me to get out the stuff I've been wanting to say without having to spend 2 months making a video. So this was very good. I'm definitely going to keep watching more of their videos. Let me know if you guys like these too. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.